Hello Games' new survival sandbox game is blowing people away. We're going to take an in-depth look at why and what all is hiding in this trailer. You'll notice right away some similarities in feel to No Man's Sky. I know what some of you are thinking, that debut had a great hype and was a great letdown at launch. But Sean Murray and his team have spent 10 years learning and making up for that fiasco. It's time to let it go, friends. We also see some similarities to other favorite survival games, including Valheim, and maybe even some upcoming Enshrouded-esque details. Sean shared at the Game Awards that a small team of about a dozen people have been working on this game for 5 years. Tight-lipped much, Sean? Oh yeah, emojis. But the secrets are coming out, so let's dive in. Light No Fire is a game about adventure, building, survival, and exploration together. Set on a fantasy planet the size of Earth. It brings the depth of a role-playing game to the freedom of a survival sandbox. So much in that one statement. So this is meant to be a trailblazer again, with Sean saying that. No edges in sight. Hello Games knows how to make procedural games expansive with a gajillion galaxies, and they've applied it to one full-sized world. Now, think about how those of us who love Valheim and how big that open world seems. But when we look at the map, there is definitely an end that you can fall off of. This takes the concept of a large world, enlarges it, and gets off of a flat Earth and onto a globe. It's interesting that No Man's Sky players always want to search for that one lush planet that they can call home. Maybe we'll find it in Light No Fire. Looking at some of the details on the website and Steam, we do not have a release date yet. I think most people are guessing next year. Under features, they talk about a multiplayer Earth. Carve a life together. Meet players from across the globe, build a life, explore, and survive together. Construct persistent buildings and communities, or strike out alone to discover the world for others. This is probably not going to be PvP. Hello Games hasn't really done that. It's going to be more collab and it's going to be more PvE. Persistent buildings and communities is going to be similar to what we have in Valheim. When you build or find something, other people can see that thing too. We didn't always have that in NMS, and they're better about having it now. But that's definitely a strength in Valheim that looks like it's going to be here as well. And you can do it with friends, or you can do it alone. It's a procedural Earth, just like NMS's procedural galaxies, but it's truly open with no boundaries whatsoever, at a scale never attempted before. When Sean discussed this at the Game Awards, he discussed how massive he wants this to feel, like one-to-one a real Earth. So instead of looking for a planet that is each its own biome, we're gonna have all of these immersive biomes on one planet. And he talks about how it's gonna be filled. Looking at the trailer, it definitely seems more full than a lot of the worlds in No Man's Sky does right now. It seems like they've taken a lot of the feedback and some of the wants from the No Man's Sky community, and they've put them all onto the world in this game. It feels like a lot of the things that are similar to the crafting and survival stuff in Valheim and games such as that also is here, but they also add some other pieces that I hear people asking about a lot, or asking for a lot. It's an ancient Earth to uncover, so that sounds like we've never been there. How did we get there? I think that's going to be about part of the storyline. And you're not the hero, which is interesting. I wonder how that's going to work out. Because they say it is thick with lore and mystery and a constant fight for survival. And it's going to have the charm and imagination that we love from classic fantasy. That says to me magic, and we can see sneak peeks of it in this trailer already. They talk about how you can go everywhere and you can do everything and discover it all. In the air, on the land, and in the sea. This opening scene is very No Man's Sky-y, isn't it? A procedural Earth, so every world will be unique. This looks like some kind of, I'm gonna guess, ruin that the player came upon. I wonder if this has any purpose. It looks like it would have a purpose. And of course, this person is riding a mount. He's even got horns that kind of match his mount. A fantasy Earth. Look at these skellies. I am thinking that they're probably moms. I love how there's like a big one and two little ones, like skelly kids or something like that. Of course, we can see the big ruins in the front, but if you zoom in, you can see there's a different kind of ruins in the background too. An unexplored Earth. Again, we get that little No Man's Sky feel with the 4 characters looking off into the distance. This looks like potentially 4 different races of characters that we can be, which also would be very No Man's Sky. No idea what this massive ball is over here, but I'm guessing that's something that we are going to find out in the wild, and we'll find out what its purpose is. Is it a gathering place? Is it somewhere that we can get some kind of special power? Look at this beautiful underwater footage. Now, what really caught my eye first is this all footage in-game multiplayer. So this is not concept. This shouldn't be what we want to have in the future in the game. It says it's in-game multiplayer footage, so that means that's the state of the game right now. Seems like it's looking pretty close to being finished to me. Definitely feels very filled in here, and look at how these guys are swimming. That's cool. They even have like different swimming styles of the different characters, and some look human, but look at this one guy. This one guy over here. That looks like a, what, badger, an otter? That's definitely a player, because a normal animal in the ocean wouldn't be wearing clothes like that with a weapon on his back, would he? There's going to be creative ways that you can have your character in here, I do believe. Lots of fish around. I wonder if we'll be able to go fishing. Of course, we have to mention that in the background here, there is a crashed ship to explore. Any loot in there? Some of these plants look similar to some underwater plants in No Man's Sky, and the little light things like the kelp sacks. But it definitely feels more full overall. And check out the octopus in the background. That thing is huge. I don't think I'd want to tick it off. Now we start coming out of the water, and we get that water on the glass effect, like you're bringing a ship out of the water in No Man's Sky. And notice too, it feels like you're in first person here, so that could be an option, first or third person. And then of course we're gonna take off on a dragon, like you do. It wouldn't be a Hello Games trailer without them sneaking some flash pictures in there, but we're not gonna miss them. First we have this magical cube. No idea what this thing is, but this person looks like they're about to attack it or try to catch it. And check out this cool staff in their hand. That looks like that would have some kind of magical power too. Maybe ice power with the crystal in the end. You'll notice a lot of times too that the players have backpacks on them. Hopefully these backpacks will be able to help us have some good storage management. At first I thought this biome kind of looked like the desert, but the more that I look at it, I think it might look like snow. I'm not sure. What do you guys think? And what is this flag for? Did the player plant it there, or did they find it there? Next they try to sneak by this hang glider. This definitely gives me some Enshrouded vibes. Maybe a little bit Zelda, but the feel is definitely more Enshrouded to me. So maybe this is a way that we're going to be able to get around before we can have a mount. That's going to be really cool to have a fast way that we can just jump and glide off the side of a mountain. Next up is some sneaky robins. These things look really cool, even if they do look cold and it's raining there. So lots of different types of flying mounts. And I'm sorry, but look at this bunny riding a robin. That is too freaking cute. It's definitely raining in this picture too, so weather is going to be a factor, I believe. Now we come to a scene with a massive amount of information in it. I think I counted 9 different players that I can see in this one scene. We have building going on, we have resource gathering, we have mounts that we're riding. Let's take a closer look. We're walking into this little village. Of course we notice the little houses, but first look at this. If we stop right here, this looks to me like 3 different biomes meeting. This is like a Spring Meadows place. This looks like mountain up here, and this is more autumn and kind of rocky terrain over there. So it's easy to see how you can find places at the edges of multiple biomes, just like in Valheim. We zoom in, we get a better look at this guy over here chopping down a tree with an axe, so that's going to have to do with resource gathering. And then also we have this guy carrying a log around. That's an interesting way to carry resources. I wonder if that's an alternative way, or could that potentially be an NPC helping us out? I kind of doubt it, because he's wearing a backpack and a weapon too. So it's probably a player. Come around and see this little building being built. I'm thinking this is probably going to be like starter building materials. It's cool how the stones are going up on their own. There is a little guy standing up there that seems to be the one that's doing the building. See his hand waving in the air as the stones are being added on? I don't see any kind of hammer in his hand. So is he using magic to get them to go up there? Also, we see a little sign in front of the house. I don't know if this is supposed to be a language that we can understand, but it kind of looks like the word home. Is that just me? I don't know, I might be seeing things. But if you look at the little house behind it, this house also has a sign right here. So is this just because people wanted to put a sign out? Or I wonder, is a sign some kind of way of marking or making it your base? Looking closer at this house, it looks like you can see several different workstations and tools. Right here, there's some kind of table. I don't know if that's related to a crafting station. This definitely looks like a kiln. There's a little opening right here where you could put things in or get things out. Building material is definitely kind of twiggy. We have a light fixture here, and look at this sparkly thing. That looks like some kind of a candle to me, sitting on a table. As we go around the corner, we see these giant urns. Are they used for storage? And also a pot that is definitely in a plant, so we can grow things in pots perhaps? We keep going and look a little bit closer at this house behind again. It's probably still an early level house, but the wood walls over here look like they're a little bit larger pieces, more like planks or boards, as opposed to the twigs of the first one. But I think there may be an even earlier version of a shelter that we're going to see in a second. We skip ahead a tad to where they're getting on their dragon mounts. Yes, dragon mounts. We can see when the dust clears for a second that there's this little tiny structure right here. If I zoom in on this, that definitely looks like a teepee to me. Am I right? Right before everybody jumps on their mounts, we have a couple more flashes. First is this person walking towards a boat. So this person's wearing not only armor, but some kind of cape. And their backpack has not a regular backpack. It's like, what is that? It looks like an urn. Does that carry something different? And then whatever weapon they have on their back, it's like really tall, from above their head down to their feet. And there's also this thing. Is that something attached to the weapon, this long staff? Or is that something different? It's hard to tell what that is. There's the Viking-looking boat in the distance, but let's look at this one up close. Multiple people on the boat, so we got our multiplayer experience again. It looks very similar to a Viking longship. We have the oars here in the back to help us drive. It also is painted really pretty. Will we have customization? Guess we have to wait to see on that. These lights look similar to the lights that were on the house. I also noticed that it has these little rings like on the side of the boat where oars could go for multiple people to help speed the boat along. We've been hoping for something like that in Valheim for a long time, and it hasn't come to pass. I mean, I'm not going to hold my breath either here. It might just be decorative to look like that, but whether we can actually do it, meh, I don't know. The next flash is hunting some kind of boar type creature. Looks like these are two different types of bows. This one's white in the middle, this one's red in the middle. These are good sized boar, and look at the animation when it hits. That's serious. Like, is that some kind of fire arrow that he shot? He's not messing around. Wonder how hard they are to take out. Then the last flash here is this battle with these crab creatures. I mean, first we have the big giant crab in the background. Scary. But there's also little crabs off to the sides. Here and here. And obviously we have this fire attack with this sword. If I pause it right here, you can see flames dripping off of the sword as he's swinging. And it causes a massive explosion. So is it just the fire sword? Is that some kind of magical thing that he added as an enchantment to the sword? I think I've seen 2 different kinds of birds and maybe 3 different kinds of dragon-looking things. And as you get on your mount and get ready to take off, that looks like the very same dynamic as getting in your starship in No Man's Sky and taking off. Without the bobbing and weaving, of course. How awesome will this be to fly over all of these amazing landscapes? The water looks clear and beautiful here. You can see other little buildings around and ruins around in the background here coming out of the water over here on a little island. We'll definitely get back to the water in the game. We have a flash of a guy riding a dragon in a storm. I think that weather is gonna be a significant part of this game. Looking at how they're showing gauges for the weather. Flying on a bird through the clouds look amazing. Here's another looking biome, very green but barren. Then of course on this massive mountain, we pass this little thing up on the tip that we saw from below and looked tiny there. If I zoom in closely, it looks like it's made out of wood, a similar wood to the second house we looked at in the little village, I think. It's impossible to tell if this is man-made or something that's found. And then we see the floating island off in the distance. This reminds me of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Let's come up closer on it. That looks cool. I'd say this is definitely not man-made. We have a wall around it. We have some trees growing up here. There's some kind of little building or something that you can approach here on the back. Taller structure in the front. Similar to a lighthouse, perhaps? And look at this. This almost looks like a landing pad, like where you can land your dragon and walk through this gate right here. That's definitely an entry gate. We walk into a new biome that has fire and rain at the same time. There's a lot going on here. Over on the left side, there's somebody warming their hands over a fire. Looks like a little simple campfire. This definitely looks like a cooking station. But why are they warming their hands? Is that like a way to get a rusted buff or something like that? Of course, the person in the middle is carrying a torch. It has a really bushy tail, by the way. And look at this guy over here. This is a staff being carried upside down. Has some kind of crystal-looking thing in the end, so probably some kind of power for that staff, magical. And obviously there's the giant guy in the middle that they're walking towards. You can't tell me this doesn't remind you of the Atlas in No Man's Sky. The mystery is why are we walking to him, but look down here at the base. If I zoom in, there's some kind of basin or bowl or platform or something like that right here. So do we get up there and talk with them or interact with it? This feels to me like it has something to do with the story. But I don't want to pass over these little guys. Look over here to the side. What are these things? There seems to be 3 of them, with one of them popping up in the back. They're not attacking. They look like they're just watching us pass by. They look like squid shadows with eyeballs. I like how that one in the back just pops up to look at us. On to riding our mighty steeds through a biome that looks exactly straight, something out of No Man's Sky. These all appear to be the same mount, but knowing them, I'm sure there's going to be more than one option available. Then of course, walking into this great hall. Love the bowing bunnies. This must be part of the story for them to be doing that. Notice that this rabbit character's shield exactly matches the things that are on the wall up here. And of course, they're all walking over towards this big mystery dude. At first I thought it might be a statue, but then it moves. Could be part of the story. I think it might also potentially be a vendor, because look at all this stuff sitting around. Some kind of axe over here and a table where things could be laid out. Kind of reminds me of the Hilder vendor in Valheim. Get one better shot of this big globe thing with a bottom on it. Seeing that they're not just on the ground but can stand up tall. Then of course we go out with this big exploding erosion of fire inside. It's kind of ironic to me, I think, that the name of the game is Light No Fire, and they keep showing us fires everywhere. I love how it shows these little tiny people. I think that's trying to give us some kind of thought about the scale of the size of the game. So I am super excited about this game. Oh my goodness, I think it hits so many of the things that people look for in survival games. And These guys from No Man's Sky, I mean, Sean and his team, they've been working on and perfecting this stuff, and they're taking a lot of the skills that they've learned in No Man's Sky and the requests that they've gotten from the community, and they're throwing it all onto one planet. And I personally cannot wait to play this game. Fingers crossed it comes out this year. Until next time, happy gaming!